very deceiving day today. Sun is blazing down, but it's very cold. It's going to warm up slightly through the day, maybe 6 to 7 degrees. But at night time, it's going to drop down to -2. So through the day, I uncover all these plants. We don't want to leave them in shade for too long. And we also need to take advantage of that proper sunshine that we're getting. It'll encourage them to grow and they'll get to be stronger plants a lot quicker. But of course, when it gets to night time, don't forget to cover them back up, because we're getting -2 tonight. But regardless of weather, I'm doing a few more seeds today. One of what I'm doing is parsley. And we've got those soaking in warm water. And they've been soaking overnight. And the reason we're doing that is because parsley seeds are notorious for germinating really slowly. So if we soak them in a little bit of warm water, leave them at room temperature overnight, it's going to soften that outer shell and you'll get quicker and better germination that way. I've also got some lettuce we're going to do. And this one's called Apache. And it's a really nice red lettuce. And these are new seeds for this year, so we'll try a few of those and we'll just multi-sow them into a pot. We're also going to sow some more mustard. And then we're going to try this new spinach as well. And this one's called Bloomsdale Long-Standing. So it's a hardy spinach, and we all know that during season, when it gets a little bit too warm, spinach is one of the first plants to go to seed. So hopefully this new one is going to last quite a bit longer. So again, we'll multi-sow some of these, and then we can either just leave them to grow on into a big bunch, because they're not bad sized pots. They're not very deep, but a lot of what we're doing at the moment is shallow rooted. And we've also got the option of moving it onto somewhere bigger if we want to. So we'll try some of those as well. And then we'll move on some of this spinach that we've already grown indoors. It's getting a little bit too leggy, and we'll take out the best at plants and we'll bunch them up and try and fill a pot to give them a good start, because they're not getting much of a root system in a little tray like this. And for today, that'll be enough. We're still getting some things going, and of course all these will move back indoors tonight. It's still far too cold for seed germination outside, even through day. And I've got them in this flower pot holder. Picked it up from local garden centre. It was free. And we got a couple, so they're perfect for putting your pots in while you're seed sowing and keeping them upright, and you can move them all at once. So I'll start off with new seeds and we'll get these filled up with some compost. And I'll just use the pots we haven't filled yet to press that down a little. Just creating a nice little even bed for us. So I just fill it, wipe away the excess, and then press it down. And then it's filled perfectly for what I need. And this is that compost that we sieved yesterday. It already had plants in originally, but they didn't make it due to harsh weather through December. So basically all we're doing is reusing this compost as it is, because seeds already have enough nutrients in them once they've germinated to feed those little seedlings for quite a while, until they've got the first set of true leaves. And then we'll just add a bit of feed to it to give them a boost. Quick and easy, and we're all set up. Before we sow any seeds, I'm going to wet this compost, because then we can direct sow them and the seeds will stay where we put them while we cover them up. So I'm going to give these a really good water and then let it soak down. And what we'll do first is that parsley that we've got soaking. And I'll just give it a swish round to get those seeds spinning in that water, and then we'll strain it. We've got all the seeds out of there. And ideally you want to dry these off first. But for the moment, I'm just going to leave them as they are. And we're going to put quite a lot in this little pot. And we'll try and space them out as best we can. I'm trying not to chuck them into a pot next door. And I think that's pretty much all of them. So a little bit of spacing out and we'll be done. And of course, don't forget to put a label in it. And then we'll do some mustard. And mustard's quite big seeds, so we can see exactly what we're doing with this. And we'll just again, just broadcast them over the top, trying to space them out best way we can. But we are multi-sowing and we want to be getting a nice big bunch in a little pot, which will then move on to a bigger pot. So you can see we're putting quite a few seeds in here. Basically overseeding. That's plenty. Then again, another label. Then we've got that spinach. And if you look at these seeds, they're almost identical to the mustard ones. They're quite large seeds. Once again, very easy to see what you're doing when you're trying to multi-sow these seeds into a pot. And I do want to get quite a few, because we can either prick these out as little seedlings and separate them, or we can just let it grow on into a big bunch in a larger container. Then we'll do that Apache lettuce. Lettuce seeds are quite small, so we're going to just do a quick broadcast, and that's enough. There's a lot more seeds in there than you think. And once these seeds have germinated, we want them to break that surface as quick as possible. So, as always, I use that colander. And then I can just dust compost over these pots until I've seen all those seeds have completely disappeared. And we know we've got that really light covering. Of course, you don't have to do it like this. It's just the way that I've always done it. And that quick, it's done. And it is worth noting that when you're multi-sowing lettuce, you've got quite a lot of seedlings in one area. So if you don't very lightly cover it, then they'll try and push that compost up in one clump, and then you end up with a right mess. And I'll just finish that off with light watering. If you want to help with germination, the good way to do that is to keep this compost continuously moist. Hold that moisture in. And if you want to do it like that, and you've got a container like this, you could just drop your tags down the side of those pots. So they're all still perfectly labelled, but the tags are out your way. And then you can just cover the whole thing with some cling film. So you're basically just creating an homemade propagator. And that's going to retain moisture for a few days. So that was quick and easy. We've got everything all in one area, ready to go back indoors. Then we can sort out that spinach. And for that, I'm going to use a 2 litre pot. It's going to give it a lot more room for root growth, because we are going to put more than one set of plants in this. And we're going to make sure we press this down this time. Want to make a nice firm bed. So we've got that pot filled up, ready to start transplanting these spinach. I always find that when you're transplanting any seedlings, it's always better to wet the compost. It seems easier to get them in and keep them exactly where you want them as well. So that's what we'll do. We'll make sure it's got a really good watering. If you want to, you can just pre-moisten all your compost in that tub. Because I do a lot of this in greenhouse, so obviously the compost dries out quite a lot. Now that's had a lot of water. Once again, we'll let that soak down and then we'll carry on. So when it comes to this spinach, what I want to be doing is taking out the ones that's got the most plants sewn together. So I'll just carefully tease that plug out. And you can see on this one, the roots are right at the bottom, so they need moving. And they are a little bit straggly, but we'll bury them a bit deeper and we'll sort that out. So I'm just going to use that to make an hole. And I'll start by making one right in the centre. And we're going deep as well, because not only do we want to accommodate that compost, we want to put these plants a bit farther down than they were. So a good sized hole. Starting off right in the centre, and then we can just feed that plant in, pushing it down deep as we do it, and then fill around that edge, pinching it all together so that these plants stay upright like that. And you can see we've got some tiny little spinach leaves already on the way. So again, select a couple of plants that are bunched together. Make a nice deep hole and get those plants put in. Pinch together, and then everything stays upright. And in this pot, we can put as many as we're wanting, but we also want to allow for root growth at the same time. So probably best not to overdo it. Spinach is fast growing and it's very cold hardy, so there's plenty of time to grow more. If you want to, you can check off a bit of that excess compost if that helps you get them in deep. So in nice and deep, pinch together. And we'll just carry on until we've got as many plants in this pot as we want. And I think for now, that'll do. We've got quite a lot of plants in there, and we've got lots of space for that root growth. So we'll just pop them to one side and wait for them to grow on a bit. So we've got quite a bit done this morning. You can take these back indoors if you want to, because they're only in a small pot. You can just pop them on your windowsill, stand them on a saucer and bottom water these plants. You're always better off bottom watering where you can. And we've got loads and loads left. So at some point this week, we'll move all these on as well into their own containers, so we can end up with a nice supply of spinach come early spring. And as these temperatures increase and the light levels get better, we'll be doing more and more seed sowing, pricking plants out and moving them on, and then eventually getting some in ground outside and in greenhouses. It's a little bit too early just yet for things like tomatoes, courgettes and cucumbers. I would hold back on those just for a few more weeks. But we are fast approaching spring. So if you're interested in seeing what else we're going to be doing between now and then please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you on the next video.